All right, let's begin the show with cybersecurity. Now, cybercrime is on the rise in India. A report by Counter Research Point says that India saw an 18% increase in weekly cyber attacks in Q1 2023. And recently, two individuals in Pune lost 33 lakhs to scamsters offering them a lucrative part-time job. So what is the scam all about? Why is cybercrime rising in India? And can innovations like CVV-Free tokenization help in curbing these cybercrimes? Let's understand all of this with Ritesh Bhatia, cybercrime investigator and cybersecurity consultant. Ritesh, hi. Good evening and welcome to the show. So every time we talk, there is a new scam that we are talking about. And this time there is work from home scam that's doing the round, and a new innovative scam of fraud where people are lured into getting a job. They give you a task and then take away all your money. What exactly is the scam and what is the modus operandi?
Oh, well, before I came on the show, I was just speaking to one of those scamsters and trying to earn 150 rupees because, you must be hearing that many people are getting missed calls on their numbers, especially on the WhatsApp. On the Twitter also, if you're seeing, it's from Indonesia, it's from so many different places, you're getting these missed calls. And when you try to call them back, nobody is answering. The whole idea is that they are just checking whether these numbers are active or not, because when you call back, definitely in that case your number is active. And these are more like those computerized like bot kind of systems which are actually making calls to you. So now once you call back, it is confirmed that your number is active, and no sooner you'll call them, Kavita, they will immediately send you a message. So the message is very clear that, look, I am an HR person from so and so company. Now these are by and large Indian companies, some very well known ones, some not so well known ones. And they'll say, okay, we just want you to, you will be able to earn around about 8,000 rupees a day. And it's a very small task. All you need is some time in hand, and, even a basic smartphone will do. And that is the where, whenever I've spoken to the victims who've approached me, they tell me, sir, we always thought, okay, we just have to do only this much. Why not give it a try? And the catch was when you went to, give it a try, they actually gave you 150 rupees. So it was like, the task was simple. They would send you on WhatsApp that this is a link of a YouTube. Just go click over there, like it, take a screenshot, send it back. And the moment you did this with 3 videos, so 50 rupees per video, 150 rupees, they ask you for your bank account and you get 150 rupees. I tried it. I gave some bank accounts of my own, my people and all. So we are just making 150 rupees every day. And then the next part is that they will now take you to another Telegram group wherein they will say, okay, now you need to deposit 10,000 rupees and you see how much money you'll get. And now that there where the catch is, and you give 10,000 rupees. Honestly, I've seen in certain cases, some victims have said that from 10,000, they actually got 12,000 back. And this was the way to earn their trust. Now, the next time, again, when they put 10,000 or 15,000 or even 50,000, they just fell into a trap. And now the trap is so bad that now they take you onto a particular a website. On the website, your name is there, your login is there, your web name is there, and then it shows that, okay, you made now 70,000 rupees. Now, the moment you go to withdraw that 70,000 rupees, they say, put more 50,000. So doing this, people fall into the trap so badly that I have a victim who lost 27 lakhs. I have another person, young boy, who lost 31 lakhs. So I'm talking about, there are several more who have lost 6 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 8 lakhs also. But I'm saying, like, these are the kind of numbers. So overall, Kavita, this is what is the work from home scam. And I wouldn't say it's greed, but I would say whenever we've spoken to the victims, it is more about that they, they say, look, it just looks that I just have to do only this much. And then they fall into the trap, Kavita.
Exactly. So now in this modus operandi, I want to understand the kind of mediums which are used. So you said there was a missed call, then they take you to Telegram, then there's YouTube also involved. So there are a lot of social media platforms a part of this particular scam.
Well, as far as the calls and the messages are concerned, initially they were sending messages. It's only through the WhatsApp messages. By and large, I would say 99% were through the WhatsApp messages that, hi, I'm from the HR and everything. I have seen cases where they have also approached you on LinkedIn. I've seen cases that where they've approached you even on Instagram. So it could be from any platform trying to lure you that this is how it is. Those messages coming in. Off lately, they've started giving a lot of missed calls. I mean, several people are getting missed calls, not just once, not twice, 4, 5 times. Still, you call them back. It's only when you call them back is basically to confirm, okay, you own a phone and you are active and your WhatsApp number is active, and that's how they start the conversation with you. So they're just trying to make their process easier. And the other platform is Telegram. So once you completed the task, the person will tell you, in order to get your money, that 150 rupees, you need to speak to somebody called as a receptionist on Telegram. So they will give the Telegram thing, and that is where you speak the person over there using a fake profile. They ask you for your bank account details. I gave them my bank account details. Within 5 minutes, I got the 150 rupees. So, and it is basically transferred through a payout scheme. So, through a payout mechanism. So, what is a payout mechanism? So there are these fintech companies. So these fintech companies are responsible of giving out the money, distributing out the money. So they take from the merchants. So basically, these scamsters are their clients. So these clients would have given them, let's say, 5 lakh, 10 lakhs, and shown themselves to be of a shell company or probably these fintech companies also need to do a very, very strong KYC. And then they tie up with, so these are called as the instant payout companies, the fintech companies. And then they tell, okay, make this payment of 150 to Ritesh, make this one payment of 150 to Kavita. So this particular person, this company, the tech company, just keeps making the payout. Without knowing that, he's making a payout on behalf of the scamsters, Kavita.
So when I have to compare this scam with the kind of scams which are there right now, why can't a victim actually make out that it is a scam happening? Is it the payout thing because of which a victim is on this scam for a longer period of time? Because the way you're explaining it, it sounds like a scam that needs a build-up and it's on for a few days because they're trying to lure you by giving you tasks and also trying to pay you to win the trust, which is why it is not easy to gauge maybe that you are being a victim over here.
Well, the payout is only the first time that that the payout is basically to win your trust. Because just imagine, I just send you one link, you just click on it, send me a screenshot, and it just didn't even take 10 seconds. So you say in 10 seconds 50 rupees, and in another 30 seconds 150 rupees. This is something great. Then what you do, so that is one thing. The payout of 150 rupees definitely wins your trust, because up till now, previously, all cyber frauds that were happening, people were like asking for certain kind of like money, but here is a scam wherein they are paying you to win your trust. And it's just not like that 1 rupee or 5 rupee or 10 rupee, but this is 150 rupees. So even for for anyone, it's decent, it's not bad. So this is one particular thing. And then they ask you, would you like to continue? You say, obviously, yes. They say, okay, why don't you put 1,000 rupees? So once you put 1,000, it actually becomes 1,300 rupees. And then again, you get a payout of 1,300. So again, that confidence is there. Now you start directly jump to the 10,000 rupees one. Now, when you go on to the 10,000, it will show it's become 16,000. So on the screen, you're seeing it's 16,000, but this time, you're not asking, okay, I want to redeem it. They will encourage you that, look, this can become lakhs. And that psychology, that kind of social engineering, then the greed comes in. Earlier you were just doing it for time pass. Now it's the greed. Now the greed becomes bigger and bigger, because what is flashing on the screen, you really get tempted with it. Oh my God, that I've made now 40,000. Now it's become 4 lakh rupees. And plus the group that they add you to, even in that particular Telegram group, there are their own people who say, hey, I made 5 lakhs. Hey, I made 8 lakhs. And then they put their screenshots. So you tend to believe that you're in the right group and doing the right job.
All right. Now, if you are a victim of this scam of a work from home or a part-time job scam, how do you get your money back? Are there any chances of getting your money back? Because you're not talking just about thousands. The people you just mentioned have lost their money in lakhs. So what's the process of getting it back?
Well, the chances are quite bleak because, as you rightly said, this goes on for a period of days. So, what has happened on day one when I put 10,000, on day two, 20, on day three, let's say another 20, and so on and so forth. With every passing day, they are removing they just divert the funds or they encash it. Mostly, it is always like sent. See, this always goes in an Indian account. Let me tell you that. Whatever payments even you are making is going to the Indian accounts. From there, they send it to their boss. Their boss converts it into crypto. And from whatever I have heard about, it's going back to China as such. And that's why I say this is like a kind of a economic cyber warfare that's going on in the country. Um, so there have been arrests because when victims have approached me and we send them to the police and all, we've come to know that there have been arrests. These are in one case we know the boy was just 18-year-old. One was 18, the other one was 21-year-old, somewhere from Madhya Pradesh. And they say even we are not aware about it. Whatever money would come, we would immediately send it to our senior, and we don't know what would happen as such. We even didn't know that all this is happening this way. So these are the mule accounts which are opened, and for a good hefty commission, these young people or other people, they get into it and then they rent out their accounts. So there have been arrests, but I haven't heard about money being recovered because the way because see, even these scamsters are aware that the moment you call 1930, ideally that's what you need to do. When you call up 1930, the police over there will call up the nodal officer of the bank where you made the payment. So let's say you made a payment to XYZ bank, it will call the officer of the XYZ bank, and the XYZ bank will freeze that particular amount, and then that amount gets reversed. So if you've gone in the golden half an hour, I would say, not even the golden hour, the golden half an hour, to the police, or if you called up on 1930 and told them that, look, my money is gone, please help me. Then in other kinds of cybercrime cases, I've seen the money being reversed in several cases. But in this particular one, I'm seeing that the moment it is going, it is it just goes away, it gets distributed, or it goes to the senior guy, gets converted into crypto, and then the chances are very, very bleak.
All right, let's move on and now let's talk about tokenization. Now, this new system of payment making through debit card or credit card, do you think this will really help minimize all the cybercrime or concerns that we have related to a cybersecurity or online transaction? Because the way we'll just have to put our CVV and the entire infrastructure or the payment infrastructure that's going to change when you're using your debit card and credit card with tokenization. How can you use it? What needs to be done, and how does it work?
Okay, so Kavita, over here, let's understand how the payments were being made earlier. Let's say you go onto a particular website, you shop something, you add items to your cart, and then you want to pay by your credit card. When you're paying by your credit or debit card, either of them, you are entering the 16-digit number, you are entering the expiry date, the CVV, and the OTP. And your name also. So all these details you were giving. Now, all these details were being saved even by the merchant. By merchant means, let's say you are onto the flower website buying some flowers or buying some cake. So even they were storing that particular number, the details, the card details as such. Uh, what used to happen that whenever there were like data breaches, we've always heard about this ransomware attacks and the data breaches, and we will say like our card data is available online. So these are the people who would be having our details, and if it got breached, my card number, CVV, and all those kind of things were available to the hackers. Even if it was encrypted, there were certain decryption keys with which they could decrypt it. So what happened then, it was decided, RBI decided that let's tokenize these card details. So what happens in tokenization is you will get an option. Do you want to save your card as per the RBI guidelines? Whenever you go to a website to shop, you'll say yes. You should ideally say yes. And if you do that, your name, your number, and your expiry date will get saved with the merchant, but it will be in a completely different fashion, and that will be called as a token. Okay, so this is basically obfuscating your data, or kind of masking your data, or rather I would say pseudonymizing your data. So whatever your 16-digit number is actually on your card, he cannot see that 16-digit number, he sees some other numbers. And so so this particular number that has been allotted to him is called as a token, and this is allotted by the card issuer, by the so let's say if it's Visa, Mastercard, or Rupee, they are the people who, with the bank, suppose if the bank has also issued the card, this ecosystem will issue a token to them. So the merchant will never ever come to know what is your name, your card number, your expiry date. Whenever you will buy something, and if it is saved for that particular merchant, all you will need to do is just enter the CVV and then enter the OTP. That's it. You don't have to enter any other details. So this is a great benefit, because tomorrow, if the merchants, there's a data breach on a merchant's website, uh, all that will go out is a particular random token number. And the benefit is that this is nothing that's encrypted, that it can be decrypted. No, this token number, they cannot make any head or tail of it. They means the hackers who hack the particular data, they cannot make any head or tail out of it. So tokenization is a beautiful thing, is an amazing step. But let's remember one thing: it is valid only for our domestic transactions, and it works on credit card and debit cards. And for each merchant, you need to create a token.
So when we talk about this entire ecosystem, we need a tokenized card, and the merchant too needs to be capable of this entire tokenized ecosystem, right? How do we actually adopt this when it comes to making a transaction? What all is needed from a end user's end?
So here the merchant doesn't have to do much about it. The merchant, of course, needs to build in certain, it just needs to rework on its payment gateway systems, and on its database from where it is capturing as such. And most of them have already done it, because as far as the RBI guidelines are concerned, so many of them, or in fact, it's quite probable that all of them have done it. And each merchant, so the token is issued by the issuer. As I told you, it could be the bank. It's the bank ecosystem, bank plus the issuer, which is the Mastercard, Visa, or Rupee system. They're giving the tokens to the merchants. So for my card, let's say I'm on website A. At the moment I enter my card details, uh, this particular merchant will request for a token from my issuer, let's say MasterCard, and then a token will be saved for, let's say, website A. Now, when I go to website B, again, it will ask me, do you want to save your card? I will say yes. So it's the same card which I'm saving at different places, but the token number is not the same. It is going to be different for different merchants, Kavita.
But then Ritesh, also explain us, will we see a drop in cyber frauds because of tokenization? Will that be a positive impact of it? How will it help securing your financial details?
It doesn't help that way directly, but it just only helps that when there is a particular breach. So the idea was that, whenever there was a breach, all this information was coming out. If you look at the earlier years, breach say, oh, the card data is available. So what was available? The 16-digit card number, the name, the expiry date, these were available. So this was getting, very messy, and it was leading to a lot of like loss of reputation for the merchant, for the issuer, and even for, let's say, Visa, MasterCard, Rupee, for these people also, that, what is happening like this. So that it is not going, it is safe in the sense, because now if the breach is there, what is going to happen is nobody's going to see my name and all those kind of things. All they will see is just one token number. And so from breach perspective, uh, it, it is just not going to help the hackers at all. So it's a beautiful mechanism. It's quite safe as such. and that's the reason it's encouraged to use to save your cards in a tokenized form. Because you also have an option. If you see there's a checkbox below, do you want to save this card or you don't want to save this card? I would suggest to save it. It's not even saving, it's basically getting it tokenized for that particular website. There are two advantages: that all your details are then replaced by one token as such, or a string of characters. And second is also the convenience. All you need to remember now is your CVV. You just punch in your CVV and just put in your OTP, and that's it.
All right, and so this leads us to the other topic. No matter how much we try to introduce these kind of new mechanisms to curb the cyber frauds, but in a recent data, cyber attacks between Jan to March 2023 have gone up by 18% as compared to the same period last year. Now, these are individual-based cyber frauds or cyber attacks at an organizational level. What sectors are we talking about who have been victim of attacks, Ritesh?
So, Kavita, when we talk about the increase in cyber crimes, by and large, we are referring to organizations. Up till now, you and I, we've always been talking a lot more about individuals. Yes, that is happening, whether it was the electricity scam, whether it was the KYC frauds, or whether it was now this job frauds, these will continue to happen. Okay. But on the other side, we also need to understand that at an organization level, the risks have always been there, the attacks have already been there, and it's just increasing exponentially. This figure that I see, I think it's way too less. It could be at least 4 times more than what is quoted over here, because many times the organizations wouldn't come and tell also that, okay, we've suffered a breach or we've suffered an attack. Nobody likes to say that we were harmed as such. So there is something like ransomware. We all are aware now that is the biggest threat globally. It's a big business also, and what is happening over your files get encrypted, and not just files getting encrypted, they are also taking your files away. And then nowadays they put it up on a website and they say, look, we have breached this particular company and asked this company to pay us this kind of ransom, otherwise we are going to breach the data. And that's how data breaches are happening. And so data breaches definitely harms the reputation of the companies, but it also harms the individual because of our privacy. I was just looking at right now a data breach of a particular Indian company, and I could see Aadhaar numbers of so many people. I could see passports. I could see bank statements of certain individuals whom I even don't know. So when I'm saying it means anyone who can go onto the dark web or even on the surface web. As a matter of fact, if you know where to go, you'll be able to see such things. So these attacks are going on. The report that you're mentioning also says that most of the attacks, are happening on the education and research center, on the research sector. Now, if you see in the research sector, we've been doing pretty well in many areas. And given the political situation all across the globe, and especially in Asia, especially in India also, these attacks are just going to increase. There have been an increase in the attacks on the defense, on the government. And third, there's been a lot of attacks on, the finance sector is always under attack, the BFSI sector, but now it's also the retail. So again, the whole thing is about getting the data or getting the intellectual property or certain secrets. I mean, from research, just imagine what kind of secrets you can get, from the research institutes as such. Even same from the finance sector, and again from the retail sector and all, because once this data is out, again, the phishing, then the spear phishing, which means targeted attacks, targeted spamming to people, or targeted advertising. If you would have seen, now you no longer get ads which are not related to you. You're able to see ads only about what you've been talking about or what you've been like showing interest as such. So how is this possible? And how is that they are getting in touch with you? It's because of these. Now, also, if you see, there's a rise in the CEO scams. So they have the database of all the CEOs and who are their key people. So on the WhatsApp, they will put the number of the CEO, and then they will message the key employee that, listen, I need, let's say, some gift vouchers, or I need this kind of cash. and the employee will think, okay, this is boss only because this is what I see the DP as, and then they will transfer the money. So all this because of the data breaches. And then secondly, whenever there is a ransomware attack, you get a good amount of money, that too in Bitcoin. So it's a big booming business, and that's the reason. The financial gains is one reason for these cyber attacks. Secondly, obviously, is the state-sponsored cyber attacks, wherein if there is anything that goes up and down in any country, you always see a rise in the attacks. Kavita.
But one more angle to this, Ritesh, is the AI. How will these kind of attacks accelerate or rise with the use of AI like ChatGPT, which is more sophisticated? I mean, when we talk about frauds and attacks, will there be more sophisticated attacks? And we are already witnessing a voice fraud, which is also done through AI.
So if we say because of this AI thing, attacks are going to get faster and easier, and because of that, they are also going to increase. Up till now, if you would be receiving emails, you might be ignoring it because of the language it was. Now, how it is, you just take the same text and you put it in Chat GPT and say, okay, rephrase this to make it like a formal mail to be sent to an Indian. So the language will be accordingly the Indian English kind of thing. And so the phishing mail that comes to you now is quite believable. It has no mistakes. It has no language or grammatical mistakes also. So this is one thing. Then the second thing, if you would see, is the audio deepfakes. uh, uh, with the AI, let's say, now your voice, I can easily get it from YouTube because of your shows. I can, or any anchors, as a matter of fact. Just all I need is a 3-minute soundbite of yours, which I will download it from YouTube or any place. I'll just feed into my AI, and now whatever I type, it will repeat the same thing. It will repeat the same thing in your voice, and it's not going to be a robotic voice, because the AI is going to take the way you talk, the rhythm which is there in your voice, your accent, everything. And now with this, imagine, especially next year, we are having the elections. What kind of audio deep fakes we can get? We already are aware about video deep fakes that are there all around across the world. But now with this audio thing, it's just going to get worse. If you ask me, have there been cases? Yes, there have already been 2, 3 cases in the world wherein, like in one case, a German CEO called up his counterpart, the British CEO, and asked him to transfer 243,000 US dollars to some Hungarian supplier. And this British CEO just transferred it. And when later on he came to know, it was not the German CEO who had called. It was a audio deep fake. It was via an AI machine. And when the case was being investigated, he says, look, there was that, the rhythm in my boss's voice. I still can't believe it. It was not my boss and it was my AI machine. So can you imagine the risk as such? Some superior saying, give me this story or give me this data, and you say, oh yeah, this is my boss, let me send it to him.
All right, so this was all on all the kind of cyber attacks and cyber frauds. Thank you so much, Ritesh, for being on the show and helping our viewers with that. But then the scam story doesn't end over here. We're going to talk about a Bikebot scam after this break with Sandeep Parekh. So stay tuned and we'll be back with more on this. Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal. Now, the new age economy brings new age frauds, and a woman in Uttar Pradesh allegedly pulled off a new age scam and is on the run after duping lakhs of investors of nearly 15,000 crore. Today, she is the most wanted criminal in Uttar Pradesh, carrying a bounty of 5 lakh on her head. So what exactly was this scam all about, and how did this entrepreneur turned criminal duped investors of thousands of crores? Let's understand all of this with Sandeep Parekh, Managing Partner, FinSec Law Advisors. Sandeep, good evening. Welcome to the show. This looks like the real life Bunty bubbly scam, if I can call it. What has been the modus operandi? It's called the Bikebot scam.
Yes, it's so essentially, I guess it was a classic Ponzi scheme in which, in the name of selling the electric bike, this lady has raised money and essentially was paying some interest, and that interest was actually coming on the principal of later investors. So it's a classic Ponzi scheme, and it's a very old trick. Really, it's hundreds of years old. Started probably with the South Sea bubble in the UK several hundred years back, and continues to kind of attract lots of scamsters. We've had so many in the past 20 years, and this just has a different label attached to it, which is offer two-wheeler motorcycles to be used for taxis. The scam is usually very straightforward. You kind of say there is some business behind you raising of capital, and you offer a return, which again looks completely innocent. Uh, and ultimately, as I said, it's as a good Ponzi scheme. The principal of the later investor goes towards the interest payments of the former investor, and therefore by the time you crack it, it's kind of most of the money is actually gone to other investors, even if you can trace the fraudster and his or her income. So it's usually quite a difficult scam to crack, simply because the funds have actually gone to innocent people. In terms of just the size, the scale is what is astounding. I would say. I think most of the Ponzi schemes are quite small; they're localized. But at 15 or 16,000 crores, this is really quite a spectacular scam for a single individual or a small team of people.
So, as you just said, that it's a Ponzi scheme and it's quite a difficult scheme to crack. But in spite of that, we'll have to give away to this scamster who's duped lakhs of investors and almost 15,000 crore rupees that we're talking about. But it is not a new, it's not anything innovative or any new kind of a scam that we are talking about. This actually signals or hints towards the lack of awareness and lack of financial literacy in the country that needs to be done. Now, even though we know that the investors have filed complaint, and this is going on since 2019, I believe, and what are the chances of these investors getting back their money? Is there any hope for them?
Usually, the chances are quite slim because, as I said, bulk of the money in a Ponzi scheme goes to prior investors. So even if assuming that the scamster still has all the money, which she has kind of made out of this, it will usually be a small percentage of what is owed to the later investors. So the usual record in a Ponzi scheme is very poor because of this reason, because scam regulators want to go after innocent investors who got. But I mean, main thing, like you rightly said, is investor education. I think investors should look at outsized returns which are being offered, kind of fantastic schemes which are being offered. They should look at whether the person offering is registered with any regulator. So I think these are kind of a couple of simple things. But in your previous show, I just happened to see the last 5 minutes. It's though it was a different context, how even CEOs get duped by scamsters. So it's we can't all blame it on investors. And of course, I think a large part of the solution is in educating investors. But it's not the whole thing. We also need very heavy action against the fraudsters so that it becomes an example for future scamsters that this is what happens. It's not just a cost of doing business, but you go straight to jail.
And what is the lapse over here? Why are we still seeing these kind of Ponzi scams active, Sandeep? After coming up with such stringent rules and laws, we can still witness these happening, and these are the ones that have been reported. I'm sure there are a lot many which go unreported, and people are not even aware that they've been a victim of such scam.
Absolutely. I think so your second point is extremely important because usually these are localized, they run into a few lakhs or, cumulatively at the most, a few crores. So they are all below the radar and people are embarrassed to be honest. Right? So if somebody has stolen your 50,000 rupees through a scam because you wanted 25% return per annum, you probably won't report it to the police. You're not going to report it to anybody. You'll just kind of take it on the chin and move on. Secondly, litigation in India, as you know, is very painful. And coming to your first comment, really, the way the laws, there's a transmission lawsuit between way the laws are written, how they're enforced, and ultimately how long it takes for the enforcement. So this transmission loss means that the justice is very, very delayed, and therefore it's kind of it becomes a bit of a difficult task for somebody who's lost a few lakh or a few thousand rupees to really challenge it, whether criminally or through civil courts. And therefore, scamsters end up kind of, they see it as a cost of doing business. And ultimately, they don't go to jail, they don't pay this thing. And, at the worst they do, they pay back what little money they have. And they keep fighting for decades at length, both in civil and criminal proceedings.
All right. So, last question to you: what all people need to understand, and maybe just before falling prey to these kind of schemes or becoming a victim, what could be the red flags that one can notice and observe, and then take steps accordingly?
And the biggest red flag for anybody has to be outsized returns. If your bank is giving you 5%, 6%, if equities are returning 10%, there is no way any credible person will give you 20%. So I think the greed kind of attracts these kind of victims very easily. And the first payment is kind of reaffirmation psychologically in the investor's mind that I've got the money in my hand, I've got these 2 rupees back from the 100 I've given. And that's kind of, I think all of these rely on that kind of reassurance that is given with the first payment. And Ponzi schemes work only, they kind of keep growing geometrically. I think the first catch is really kind of to eliminate greed, which is, if something is too good to be true, it is. Second is, I think, just look for regulated people. Are the people who are selling you stuff, are they regulated by anybody? Because almost all financial products today are fall within the regulatory ambit of one or another regulator. Some of them even, most states have regulation against raising any kind of capital, including, all the local schemes that you have, chit funds, etc. The third is, I think, really just using common sense. That if there is some business behind it, and if it's such a large business in this example, somebody's raised 15,000 crores, that's kind of almost like your multi-unicorn business that has been claimed to exist. So that can easily be verified. In all cases, of course, it can't be verified. If a small chit fund in Nagpur, I don't think the residents can figure it out. But once it gets this large, it's kind of it's difficult to say that the investors did nothing at all and could do nothing at all to stay away from such schemes. So I think it's a lot of this has also happened in the last 2 years, where people have seen other investors make lots of money from equity markets, from crypto, their neighbors making a lot of money. So I think it's a lot of people are going to learn the hard way that there is no concept of free money. You can make some investments and make some reasonable return, but free money doesn't really exist.
All right, very important to stay aware and updated, and it's your hard-earned money, and which is why it's very important for you to safeguard your money with all the kind of right informations and knowledge about it. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for being on the show. On that note, let's take a quick break, and post that we'll talk about gold loan and answer your financial portfolio queries with Amit Kukreja. Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal. Now, gold has been an integral part of Indian culture for centuries, making it a popular asset among Indian households. However, it is not just because of their beauty or status symbol that they are prized. It is also because gold can serve as collateral for a loan and making it a valuable resource during financial emergencies. So, how can an ordinary individual avail gold loan? What are the benefits and risks associated with a gold loan? Let's and all of this with Amit Kukreja, founder Amit Kukreja Advisory. Amit, good evening and welcome to the show. We are going to talk about gold loans, which are also treated as secured loans, and we can actually avail a gold loan in 30 minutes through any financial institution, be it a bank or NBFC?
Yeah, some of these are very fast in terms of issuing the money for a collateral. And these are fintech platforms, and somewhere the process is pretty cumbersome with all the required paperwork. So it depends upon where you're taking the loan from.
So, so let's talk about the rate of interest, the loan tenure, and the repayment strategy also, because a lot of these financial institutions are very flexible when it comes to paying off a gold loan. So what exactly gets into it? If we have to compare it with a personal loan, what could be the range of interest rates?
Yeah. So if you if you analyze what are the types of loans, then you will always find that any loan which is against a collateral will come to you at a cheaper rate of interest. Any loan which does not have a collateral, like a personal loan, will come to you as an expensive rate of interest. And anything which is coming to you as a borrowed money on a credit card will be the most expensive loan. So when it comes to loan against a collateral, it depends on what is the collateral. Is it a house? Is it an office? Is it any other form of real estate? Or is it gold? So the rates of interest for these collateral, they also vary depending upon what is the nature of the underlying asset. Is it an appreciating asset or a depreciating asset or a constant value asset? In case of financial assets also, you can get the loan. But coming to gold specifics, the rate of interest on the gold loans have been hovering in the range of 8 to 12, 13%, depending upon where you're taking the loan from. And they look at the quality of the asset. They also look at the form of the asset, whether it is physical, whether it is sovereign gold bond, which means the paper asset. What exactly is the nature of the asset? Is it the gold in the form of financial asset, for example, gold ETF? Is it gold in the form of paper asset, which is sovereign gold bond? Or is it gold in the form of real gold, 24 karat gold, which could be coins, which could be any other form or the shape? Or is it a gold jewelry? So it depends upon what is the underlying value of the asset, the nature of the asset, and the loan to value ratio, which is the percentage of money that can be lent to the borrower against that collateral.
All right. Now, what happens to a person who has a low credit score? Can they also avail a gold loan?
Subjective to the lending institution, Kavita. If the CIBIL score is very bad, the lending institution may choose not to give the loan to that person. If the CIBIL score is an average score, or if the CIBIL score is a very good score, then they may offer a different rate of interest to the borrower. So it depends upon what is your CIBIL score, which reflects what has been your payment history in the past for the borrowed amount that you have taken from the lending institutions, and accordingly, the rates of interest are being offered.
So typically one can go for a short-term loan if that's the criteria. A gold loan is preferred than a personal loan.
So I would always say a loan against a collateral is preferred over a personal loan, because what personal loan does is, it first of all, it comes to you at a higher rate of interest. Second of all, it might impact your CIBIL score adversely, more adversely than the score when you had taken a loan against a collateral. And my suggestion is, why borrow money if you can structure your financial plan in a manner where you have a contingency fund, we have the whole layers of financial planning established? Then either do the asset allocation, sell your asset and have the money, rather than giving away the asset as a collateral. Because I know gold people get attached to in our country. It has its own ornamental value attached to it and some cultural value attached to it as well.
All right, so that was all about gold loan, but then let's move on and let's have our viewers online with us. Do I have... All right, so this is an email query from Mr. Kulkarni from Goa, and he says that he has 3 SIPs going on in PGIM mid cap, Canara Robeco large cap, Nippon small cap, and he wants to hold this for 20 years from now, and the accumulated the corpus that he wants to accumulate is 10 crores for his retirement. He wants you to analyze his schemes, and he's 35 years old.
Yeah. So my answer to Mr. Kulkarni from Goa is that whatever I'm going to state now is purely for educational purposes. We have got a new code from our regulator, so I have to be very cautious with respect to what I'm sharing with the audience on a national TV. So, Mr. Kulkarni, you need an SIP of 95,000 rupees a month to accumulate 10 crores in 20 years. From a pure academic perspective, if the money is growing at 11%, 12%, 13%, or 14% respectively, you are likely to accumulate 7.75 crores, 8.75 crores, 9.85 crores, or about 11 crores. So from an academic perspective, at different rates of return, you are likely to accumulate 10 plus crores within 20 years if the rate of growth, the rate of interest is 12+%. The schemes that you have are really good, but the amount that you are investing through SIP is only 10,000. So you have a way to go before you achieve the target. So either increase your SIP amount and come close to 90,000 a month, or reduce your target accumulation corpus.
All right, so that's the answer for Mr. Kulkarni. And with that, thank you so much, Amit, for being on the show and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries. But we move on. Telangana will soon have its first Giga factory in Mehbooba Nagar and Mehboob Nagar district. The new factory is being launched by leading industrial and automotive battery manufacturer Amara Raja Batteries Limited. Here are more details to it.
Amara Raja Batteries Limited, ARBL, one of India's leading industrial and automotive battery manufacturers, held a grand groundbreaking ceremony for Telangana's first Giga factory in Mehboob Nagar district. K.T. Ramarao, Telangana Minister for Municipal Administration and Urban Development, Industries and Commerce and Information Technology, Srinivas Gaud, Minister for Prohibition and Excise, Sports and Youth Services, Tourism and Culture and Archaeology, Ramachandra N. Gala, founder Amara Raja Group, and Jayadev Gala, Chairman and Managing Director ARBL, graced the groundbreaking ceremony in the presence of other dignitaries from the government and industry. The Telangana government had entered into an MOU with Amara Raja Advanced Cell Technologies Private Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of ARBL, which has been working on lithium-ion cell chemistries specifically suited for Indian subcontinent. The groundbreaking ceremony officially marked the beginning of Amara Raja Giga Corridor that aims to produce lithium cell and battery packs with an ultimate capacity of up to 16 gigawatt-hour and up to 5 gigawatt-hour respectively. The facility also aims to create direct employment for about 4,500 people and a similar number of indirect jobs that will make significant contributions to the socio-economic development in the region.
So with that, it's a wrap on the Money Show today, but I'm going to leave you with our WhatsApp number and email ID where you can reach us and send us your portfolio queries. We will do your live financial planning. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.